Brendan Fraser returns for the Mummy sequel. Hey guys, today we're going to talk about how Brendan Fraser returns for the Mummy sequel. Let's get right into it. The world is experiencing a renaissance, and Brendan Fraser is being greeted with open arms. The Whale, the actor's most recent project, has earned him praise and awards for his performance, which is being hailed as his comeback despite mixed reviews overall. Despite this, fans and audiences remain devoted to Fraser, particularly his performance in Universal's action-adventure franchise, The Mummy. Could Fraser be getting a new take on his beloved role? According to Variety, the actor is certainly open to the idea. In The Mummy Returns, and The Mummy: Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, Fraser played soldier-turned-adventurer and heartthrob Rick O'Connell. While the first two films were well received and saw a resurgence of fan love when they celebrated their respective 20th anniversaries, the third film was far less well received and ended up being the lowest grossing of the three. Despite admitting that he has no idea how a fourth film would be made, Fraser stated, "But I'd be open to it if someone came up with the right concept. A hypothetical fourth film would not be the first soft or hard reboot of the franchise since its debut in 1999. Prior to the release of Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, Fraser's co-star, Rachel Weisz, who played the daring librarian, Evelyn Carnahan O'Connell in two films, left the franchise for personal reasons as well as script issues. Problems that were clearly not unfounded, given the film's overall reception. Mario Bello took over her role instead, giving it a very different spin, making her much more of a conventional strong female lead, in contrast to Weisz's well-meaning, awkward yet tough take on the role. The second and more significant reboot of the franchise occurred in 2017, with a brand new film titled The Mummy, starring Tom Cruise and Russell Crowe. The film was supposed to kick off the Dark Universe franchise, a collection of films centered on Universal's legendary monsters. The reboot, on the other hand, performed so poorly at the box office that it abandoned all plans for an MCU-styled interconnected storytelling world. The fact that the 2017 film took a more horror approach, as opposed to the pulpy adventure style that Fraser's films excelled at, may have had an impact on the film's reception. Fraser told Variety, "It is hard to make that movie. The ingredient that we had going for our Mummy, which I didn't see in that film, was fun." He then added, "That was what was lacking in that incarnation. It was too much of a straight-ahead horror movie. The Mummy should be a thrill ride, but not terrifying and scary." And what a thrill ride it was, combining horror and just the right amount of gore with action, comedy, lush landscapes, enough ancient history to keep enthusiasts and the newly curious interested, and of course, Rick and Evelyn's sweeping, snarky romance. If the series returns for a fourth film, these elements would be present, in addition to the original cast members Fraser, Weisz, John Hannah, and Oded Fehr. Though it's difficult to imagine what Arnold Vosloo's Imhotep could be upset about at this point, it's also difficult to imagine the franchise returning without his distinct brand of deeply felt love and emotion, mixed with a determination to do whatever he feels necessary, regardless of the consequences. A return to a series and role that made him even more beloved than he was before could also be a fitting reintroduction to Hollywood for the actor, who spent many years away from the spotlight after being sexually assaulted by then Hollywood Foreign Press Association president Philip Burke. Though Fraser stated in an interview that he is unsure whether reporting his assault resulted in his blacklisting, many of us have unfortunately witnessed what happens to performers who try to hold the powerful accountable in cases like this. Fraser went on to add, "I know how difficult it is to pull it off. I tried to do it 3 times. It could be argued that he didn't so much try as he succeeded, given that even people who can't stand horror films, like myself, have grown to adore these films." This echoes his statement back in 2019. During a 2019 panel at Fan Expo Canada, a fan asked Fraser if there were any new The Mummy movies on the horizon. He responded, "For me? Do you want one?" Naturally, this response received plenty of cheers from people in the audience. So he said, "Did you hear that, Universal?" After feigning ignorance about the 2017 reboot, he acknowledged he would be on board for a new version. He told the crowd, "Absolutely, but there seems to be a bit of a caveat." He then added, "Just gotta say, I know how hard it is to make that movie." He then said, "I tried to do it 3 times, and the essential ingredient is fun. You gotta remember to have fun. So if there's a fun way to approach it again, I'm all in." He also praised his co-star in the first 2 movies, saying, "I mean, come on, Rachel Weisz, she's lovely." He commented, "She got stuck with all the exposition in that show, which is good, that means all the talking. I was just the guy like, hurry up, let's go, come on, that thing is going to go bang." It worked out. Of course, just because he's up for another The Mummy installment doesn't mean the film's going to happen. That's all for today, and we'll be sure to catch you all in the next one.